Hey guys, welcome to the daily news analysis of 29th of January. Guys, let's see the very first news. First news is regarding olive Ridley turtles. Actually, this was in news because recently along the Tamil Nadu coast, it has been observed that many, olive Ridley turtles has got death, right? So, and it is being speculated also that this number is going to increase further, right? So let's see about olive Ridley turtles because they are very much important for the prelims perspective, just because of the nature of a very factual information that they contain, right? So they basically fall under the Indian Wildlife Protection Act 1972's Schedule 1, all right, and it is endangered olive Ridley turtles, which falls under the vulnerable category of IUCN red letter data book, right? And guys, they basically these turtles are protected under the CITES convention, that is Convention of International Trade on International Flora and Fauna, which for which India is also the signatory nations. And if we see the location where these olive Ridley turtles can be found all over the world, then these are the location over which they can be actually found, right? So just look onto it. Next news is about Atal Pension Yojana, guys. Now, why this was news? Because central government has recently decided in order to allow the small finance bank as well as payment bank in order to offer the Atal Pension Yojana, right? Which is speculated that it will increase the coverage of this scheme, overall scheme. Before few days also we have learned a bit about this scheme basically, but again we are reading about it because central government has allowed these small finance as well as payment banks to carry out with this Atal Pension Yojana. Now, what are these small finance bank and payment bank? We'll just read a gist about them in the next slide, right? But as of now, let's see that what is this Atal Pension Yojana is all about. So basically the aim of Atal Pension Yojana is to create a pensionized society so that in future they can get money from a sustainable source, right? So far 11 payment bank and 10 small finance bank has received the license from RBI to start banking operations, and since center is telling now that they will be also be interested to carry out with this Atal Pension Yojana, since their reach is very much huge, so it is speculated that the subscriber list of Atal Pension Yojana will also increase in coming future. This scheme has been brought by the government of India on the year June 2015, and from the age group 18 to 14 years the people can subscribe to this scheme. For this the people have to pay money which is between 1000 and 5000 rupee, right? And for the first 5 years the government of India will also pay from their own pocket either 50% of the amount which has been paid by the subscriber, or at max 1000 rupees. Means at a time when, if you say for example you are enrolling yourself into this Atal Pension Yojana and you are subscribing by giving 2000 bucks, right? So what is the 50% of it? 50% is 1000, right? So government will pay 1000. If you are subscribing it by say 1000 rupees, then what is the 50% of it? 500. So government will pay 500. But if you are paying 4000, so you are expecting government will pay you 2000. No, government won't pay you 2000, rather government will pay you just 1000 rupee only, because that is the maximum limit of what government can pay. And the very good scheme, and the facility under this Atal Pension Yojana is the same pension would be paid to the spouse of the subscriber when there is demise of both the subscriber as well as the spouse. Means, see, if you are, say for example, by any unforeseen circumstances, you have there has been you got that, right? So in that case your spouse will be getting the money, and in the case in which your spouse and you both are dead, then what will happen is the nominee who has been nominated on behalf of you both, then they will be given the money of whole money of this Atal Pension Yojana for which the subscriber has subscribed to this Yojana, right? So yeah, about payment bank and small finance bank, guys. So small finance bank basically are opened in a rural type of area mainly, right? And payments bank are being opened by the branches which are being allocated by the RBI. Small finance bank allowed to take deposits of any amount, in the case of payment bank, there is a limit of like 1 lakh rupees per individual customer. In case of payment bank, guys, they can issue debit card or ATM card but cannot issue credit card, right? And they can also distribute products such as mutual fund, insurance, and third party loans, which is also the same case with small finance bank. They can also distribute financial products such as mutual fund, insurance, and pension. All right. And and both the banks can provide remittances service. So all other informations are given. You can read it yourself also if you want to. Next news is about scientist has cloned monkeys, basically, and this has been done by the Shanghai scientists. So basically they have created two genetically identical long-tailed macaws, and these monkeys are named Hua Hua and Zong Zong. Right, now we don't have to remember the name of what is the name given to them, but anyways, so what is this clone monkey, guys? So basically it is said after this cloning of these monkeys by the Shanghai scientists, it might bring a revolution in medical research, because these are the primate species which are comparable to human, right? And in the field of medical research, it is very much important to test medicines over different species. So since they are comparable to human, so it is speculated that the medical research could be carried out over them. And it is said also in the article that it is for the first time that the scientists have created cloned primates using the same complemented cloning technique, which is known as somatic cell transfer technique. And with this technique only, guys, in the year 1996, there was a cloning of a sheep that has been done, and the name was Dolly, right? So basically the somatic cell transfer technique, let's read about it. So what happens under this technique is scientists reconstruct an unfertilized egg, right? Those eggs which are unfertilized, that eggs are being reconstructed. How? So basically the nucleus, which contains most of the genetic information of any particular species, those are being removed from the egg's nucleus, from the egg, right? And that is being replaced with the nucleus from another cell, and which is then stimulated over a certain conditions whichever is being required for the development to embryo, right? And when it gets developed into embryo, it is then transplanted to the surrogate mother, where the children is given birth, right? So it is indeed a very good technique, and we should remember all these keywords also, guys, like surrogacy, what is surrogacy, what is nucleus, what is this genetic information, right? And all these things are very much important. If you haven't read, then just go through your a biology book of 9th and 10th class, so you will get to know about it, right? Next news is about India's first floating market that has been opened recently in Kolkata. So since it is India's first floating market, so again it is very much important, right? So it is being opened in Kolkata's Patuli area, right? Where the shopkeepers will be allowed to sell fruits, vegetables, and fishes, right? So just see the location, how this has been opened here. Next news is India has renegotiated pact with Seychelles. See, basically, first of all, I'll try to discuss where the location of Seychelles is. So here it is India, right? Here, this one is Seychelles, and we'll also discuss here about Assumption Island, right, which is being created by India. Basically, infrastructural creation will be there by the India, right? And Assumption Island falls under the sovereign jurisdiction of Seychelles, right? Now let's see about the news. What the news is, since the Chinese influence is growing over Seychelles. Right. So that's why India has tried to, construct a strategically located island there, right? And the name of that island is Assumption Island. So basically, that the pact which India has signed with the Seychelles government, that pact has been revised, right? So under the revised agreement, they have simply told that if in the case when it is being seen that India is in war with any country, then the Assumption Island won't be allowed to India for the usages of military facilities, right? And also in future we can allow the other international partners to use that a piece of island, right? because overall if you see that piece of island fall under the sovereign jurisdiction of Seychelles, right? So whatever we want, we can do it. And if you want to see that other aims of Assumption Island, means what can other things be done. So basically it is kind of framework for assistance to Seychelles by India, and which will help both the countries, that is India and Seychelles, to build their military capabilities, as well as put a maritime surveillance over the island nation's exclusive economic zone, right? So it will also speculated that search and rescue operations can be on those operations can also be beneficial, since this military capabilities will be set up over that Assumption Island, right? So yeah, next news is about UIDAI has said that Aadhaar is an identification, not an profiling tool. Basically UIDAI chief was conducting live session. So basically on that live session, they have come up with the concerns that people had regarding Aadhaar. So people will basically raising the voice that Aadhaar could lead to government monitoring, surveillance, or possible misuse, right? So what are your take over this? So they have clearly said that Aadhaar is just an identification tool, right? It is not a profiling tool, right? So government won't monitor, surveillance, or do any possible misuse with this Aadhaar, because we also have the responsibility, since we have come up with this Aadhaar, right? So just be sure that those data will not be misused. Next news is about SARLOS, which is an indigenous aircraft. So basically the name is SARLOS PT-1N, SARLOS PT-1N. And basically it was in news because recently the successful test flight has been conducted for this upgraded version of SARLOS aircraft. All right, and this aircraft is an indigenous aircraft which has been developed by the National Aeronautics Laboratory, which is further overseen by Council of Scientific and Industrial Research. It can perform both civilian and military operations, and day and night missions can also be carried out using this aircraft, right? And it can also speculated that it has a characteristics basically that it can used in remote sensing exercises also. The aircraft was designed to operate and maneuver at higher altitude and under extreme temperature. Means if in the situation where, say for example, there is war occurring between India and China, right? So in that kind of situation, this aircraft can take off and landing activities in higher terrains also, right? That's why it is written that it can operate and maneuver in higher altitude and extreme temperatures also, right? So guys, this was all about the today's news, guys, and this is my Telegram channel. If you haven't subscribed to it, you can subscribe to it, right? And yeah, so guys, we'll meet in tomorrow's class. Till then, bye bye, take care, and thank you for listening to me, guys. Thank you very much.